Blazing Hot 91, I'd like to welcome you to a new segment that we started last week. It's called Health, Healing, and Hampton Roads. Our guest on this week is Bishop Courtney McBath. He is the senior pastor at Calvary Revival Church in Norfolk. He is a leader, a founder of Calvary Revival Church, as well as a Calvary Leadership Network. He is basically a mentor, a coach, a global pastor because he's serving, 10 nations and 5 continents. Bishop McBath, welcome to Blazing Hot 91.
Hey, it's good to be on Blazing Hot 91. How's it going, sir?
Hey, it's going really great. We got a lot to talk about real quick in a little bit of limited time real quick. In this COVID-19 environment, how has your ministry with Calvary Revival Church and trying to heal the 757 in ministry changed, as well as your global ministry?
Well, here locally, of course, we are under all the restrictions that everyone else is under. So we haven't had church in about 6-7 weeks now, and we are online 6-7 days a week. We're online with some worship, some kids content, some preaching. Of course, our 5 services on Sunday that are pre-recorded and aired on Sundays. So we're still having worship services, and we've added about 1,200 households since we got into COVID, and seen folks give their hearts to the Lord, join the church, started going through the process of becoming a member. Since we've gone in, our connect groups, which is our small group ministry, small groups of people that meet all over the 757. They are meeting, most of them by Zoom. And so we're continuing. So everything that we were doing, except meeting together, all in one space, we're continuing to do. And now we've changed our parking lot into a food distribution center. So we try to feed anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people every week in the parking lot.
Okay, great. Let's just talk about that real quick in the food distribution center and the food pantry that you have going on.
Yeah, we're excited to be partnering with the Southeastern, the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia and Eastern Shore, and that's our food bank. We're connected with them, and we distribute that food here in our parking lot on Friday from about 10 until 12, or until the food runs out. Here lately, since COVID-19, we never know quite how much food we're going to have. We've also purchased masks, so that people who maybe couldn't get to one or couldn't get out to one, couldn't find one, we're trying to give those out as well. So that's what's happening for us now. The bigger collaboration is reaching out to other faith-based organizations under the leadership of the food bank to connect with other churches to provide volunteers, donations, so that we can get meals out to seniors in places where they can't necessarily get out and maybe don't need to get out because of their susceptibility to this particular virus. We're trying to protect seniors. And so folks who are interested in that, we run most of that through the food bank's website, which is foodbankonline.org. But some great things are happening here locally, and we're grateful to God, in spite of what's going on, that we can at least help serve as many people as possible.
I know it's a great feeling when you are helping those that are in need, as well as meeting the need and being able to meet the need of the community at large.
Yeah, and, but one of the things we recognize, too, is that this pandemic is a global pandemic. Someone said that we haven't seen anything like this since Noah floated the ark, where something affected every inhabited continent in the globe. And so with our churches in India, Africa, China, South America, Europe, we've been trying to assess the needs there. And the folks here in Norfolk, in Hampton Roads, have been so gracious that they've given enough so that we can continue to make sure that our pastors in Uganda and India and other places have food. In the Dominican Republic, they have food and place to live and clean water. And so that's been at least a small donation that we can make to the global pandemic, and we're grateful for people who are helping us make that possible.
Are there any volunteer opportunities that's available to help with the distribution or the food pantry as a whole?
Absolutely. We are encouraging folks who would like to volunteer. They can go through our church's website or through our social media. They can go to our Facebook page and ask if they can and get information on volunteering. When volunteers meet, when they get trained, they can get information if they'd like to help us with food distribution on Fridays. They're welcome to do that. And so I would think the Facebook page would probably be the easiest way to do that.
Okay.
And then for those long-term who might help us with transporting meals out to seniors, if they would go to foodbankonline.org, to the food bank's site, and they'll see a banner that says faith plus food equals hope. If they'll click on that, they can help. They can donate. They can donate hours. They can donate money, or they can put in there, hey, I've got a grandparent or someone who can't get out. Is there any way y'all can help us? So they can go there. It's kind of a one-stop shop to get information.
All right. Can you give us that website?
That website is foodbankonline.org for people who might want to help us with distributing meals out to seniors. And then for those who might want to work with us here on our Friday afternoon distribution, they can go to CRC Norfolk's Facebook page and in the comment section just say, hey, I'd like to volunteer, and one of our digital pastors will reach out to them.
We're speaking with Bishop Courtney McBath, Senior Pastor of Calvary Revival Church here in Norfolk, Virginia. Bishop, one question, as this pandemic is starting to affect everyone else, what are you seeing in Hampton Roads as a whole with the people of Hampton Roads?
My deepest concern, sir, in Hampton Roads is the lack of testing. And then added to that, I was sharing this on my talk show last night on Facebook Live. The added issue is African American folks' fear of being tested. 700 calls went out this past week for testing to African American folks, targeting our communities. 6 people out of the 700 wanted to be tested. 6. That's less than 1%. It's not 16 or 60. That's 6 people out of 700. It bespeaks an overall fear of the systems of America because of oppression. And so our folks fear things like the Tuskegee Institute experiment and those kind of things where our people are used unknowingly for science experiments and those kind of things. I was amazed to discover that those fears are still very real in our communities. The issue here is that with 70% of fatalities in some places being people of color, we need testing more than anyone. And that fear can lead us to death. And that's what I'm trying to work to stop that, to get our folks to a comfort level where they can get tested so that if there are hot spots in our community, that we can stop that before the disease runs its course, affects people's ability to breathe, affects the use of their lungs, and especially among our elderly. And so that's what I'm seeing in Hampton Roads. The curve I know is flattening, but then there's that's somewhat of an anomaly because if testing hasn't been completed, then the flattening of the curve could be an inaccurate response.
Yes, indeed. Now,
especially among our people.
Yes, indeed. Because we're called Health Healing in Hampton Roads, let's talk about fear versus faith.
And that's a good discussion, too, because as a man of God, the first thing I want to say to people is that God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. Hebrews 2 tells us that all our lifetimes we were subject to the fear of death, but that God delivered us from that. And that has its context. But then when that crosses over into the issue of healing, testing, those other things, people not only need to hear my voice preaching and teaching the word, but they also need to hear the voices of African-American medical professionals who will stand and say, this is a safe process. you don't have to fear this. You don't have to operate in fear in this. I think it's a collaboration of all of us working together. They need your voice as a younger, I'm guessing, young Gen Xer, old millennial. They need your voice to speak. And one of the things that you can help us with is even with volunteering, is because seniors have always carried the weight of volunteering, but now we need Gen Xers and millennials to step up and volunteer now, because we can't put seniors in harm's way. And we need young folks who couldn't volunteer before because they had to work, but they ain't got to work right now because their job's closed. And college is closed, and maybe they can help out a little bit. Would be an amazing move for us. And I know that's not what you asked me, but if you talk to me long enough, I'm going to get to the place of talking about millennials and Gen Xers stepping up, because us baby boomers are getting old, and we need y'all to step in and take over in a bad way.
Well, we're talking with Bishop Courtney McBath, senior pastor of Calvary Revival Church. Bishop, any final words you want to leave with the 757?
Absolutely. Psalm 91 says, "He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the peaceful shadow of the Almighty." And then I can say of the Lord, He's my safety and my refuge. He's my God. In Him I'll put my trust. He will free me from the pestilence, and He will protect me from dangerous disease. That's Psalm 91, 1-3, the New Living Translation. And I believe that with all my heart, that God is going to watch over us. He has been. He's going to continue to do that. Our hearts and prayers go out to our friends and family in New York and Detroit and other places that were hit much harder than we were. But I'm encouraging folks who live in our region to take courage, to get tested, keep washing their hands, practicing social distancing. Don't let these greedy governors and politicians whose only concern is making money fool you into moving prematurely into harm's way, especially knowing that 70% of the fatalities in many places are African American. We need to be wise in this season.
Very well said, sir. Very well said. The segment is called Health Healing in Hampton Roads. Bishop McBath, we thank you so much for being our guest on today.
It's my pleasure, sir. Thank you for having me, and my prayers are with you and the station and with you all's families and the folks in Hampton Roads who look to you as a resource, and we're very grateful for you.
Thank you so much. It's Blazing Hot 91. We will get through this together.